All right. Welcome back. Episode 2, Beers Up Sports Talk. Sibo, Debo, here to talk some more NFL, here to talk some more Buffalo Bills, here to talk some more Green Bay Packers. But first, RIP to MLB Opening Day 2020. It was supposed to be today. It's not.
Braves, right?
But
Opening
we're here.
day.
We're representing. We're here to talk about baseball. We're not here to talk about baseball, let's be honest. We're going to talk about our teams.
We'll talk about it real quick, right? Because that's all we can do. Like, we'd love it. So let's talk about it, see what we think would happen if we had a baseball season, right?
Well, so to all the people out there, you said you don't think there's going to be a baseball season.
I did say that while we were talking earlier. And how can you have one? So at earliest, and this is, again, just me speculating, at earliest, they'll start mid-May. Mm-hmm. They have to have some kind of spring training again, right? Because they started it, got halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way through, and then stopped. So you're now looking at a month probably of spring training. Does that sound right? And then you're looking at mid-June. So mid-June is basically so you're a month short of the All-Star game, which is halfway. So you're looking at a 100-game season.
You're just talking about a lot of guys, or you're talking about a lot of doubleheaders. You're talking about a lot of teams playing a lot of doubleheaders.
That did cross my mind. Doubleheaders. So would they expand the roster at that case? Would they let you have more pitchers so that way you can have maybe 6 starters instead of 5?
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. There's too much money involved in sports and the regional TV networks, to all of that stuff, for anybody to say, let's just cancel the whole season. Now, full disclosure, I'm expecting us to be able to leave our houses within the next month and a half. So, like, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I just don't see a way in which MLB is just like, you know what, shut it down.
But a month and a half is end of April, beginning of May, right?
Right. No,
you're talking about them not doing it until mid-May. So you're talking about the season not starting after a spring training until actually mid of June.
You're going to have a shortened spring training. You're going to have they're going to get together. They're going to play a handful of games, and they're just going to go for the season. Because if everybody only plays 3 or 4 spring training games, and everybody's on the same footing.
Well, I agree, but then you're talking about more injuries.
Well, I think your point of expanding rosters is a good idea because it at least gives people the opportunity to not have to pitch every 5 days, to maybe not even have to play every day and get guys into shape. My guess is that these guys are exercising right now. They're preparing for the season. Like, I don't think they're just sitting on their ass doing nothing.
I mean, you would hope so, right? But so can you just – I'm not sure how the 7-day DL works. Is that just for concussions?
I don't think so. It's a newer thing. Like, it just started last year, so I think you can use it for other things.
Okay, because I think they should expand it to someone who, just has that, they need a couple more days after spring training and they're sore to be able to do a 7-day instead of 15 because you're setting the rookies up. I mean, all-stars and players that have been there their whole career and they're veterans, there we go, they're ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I even think, but even if you said, all right, this season we're going to play a 110-game season, everybody's starting from zero. It's not like the NBA where you're 2/3 of the way through the season and you got to figure out how the heck you're going to do it. Are you going to play until August and then start again in a month? Like, what are you going to do? Like, to me, the idea of baseball is you can say, all right, let's do a 110-game season and just, that's what we're going to do. I've heard people talk about playing World Series games on Christmas. I think that's kind of bananas, but I think the MLB is going to do whatever they can to get as many games on the docket as possible so that these folks can get paid because ownership wants that money, players want that money. And when you start cutting back games, when you start talking about missing seasons, you talk about people not getting paid. And there's just, as we're seeing with the NFL, with them just kind of plowing forward, there's money to be made. They're going to make it.
No, I agree. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I hope it comes back soon. I'm hoping that pro sports is able to have it soon. But it is what it is, But this isn't about that. We don't really have a lot to talk about baseball. All I want to do is I want to vent about the Red Sox and I want to hear your thoughts about the Braves.
Well, so I'll let you vent because I'm sure that's what you have. You're going to do a lot of venting about the Red Sox. A lot has gone on, right? I mean, not a lot of good things have happened.
I,
So I'll let you vent, and then
I'll
I'll
make it a little
follow up.
R-rated, and I apologize in advance, but this offseason was full on bullshit.
So are you saying this is going to be a NSFW? Granted, no one's at work to watch this, but
yeah, no, I just have so many issues with what's transpired over the last 2 years. My biggest issue is that Dombrowski, the GM that was there before, that was in Boston before, all that guy cares about is signing veterans, giving them big deals, and trying to win championships. And that last part is cool. We won a championship a couple of years ago. I can get down with that. However, the moves that he's made since then, he signs Nate Eovaldi to a ridiculous contract that he didn't need to sign him to. He signed Sale to a monster contract while he's injured last year. Now the guy is going to get Tommy John. That means a year and a half of that contract that he signed that's $30+ million a year he's not even going to be pitching for. And because of those contracts, now we're up against or we're over the salary cap, we're over the spending money, and now you got to get rid of Mookie and David Price. And you can talk – and ownership can say whatever they want about, it wasn't about the money. It was about, free agency, whatever. I don't care. It's bullshit. Mookie Betts is one of the best 2-3 players in baseball. You don't get rid of that guy. You don't trade him for a bag of peanuts, and that's basically
No, I agree. I mean,
Alex,
yeah, but
whatever his name is that they got, and whoever the minor leaguers that they got. But there's no reason that you need to get rid of Mookie Betts. You are a franchise that spends $200+ million a year, and you're talking about it's money, and then you're talking about it's not money, and then you're talking about it's money, and we just let it go. It was bad business decisions to sign Sale to that contract. They could have given him the qualifying offer last year. He would have signed it. Nobody would have signed him. They could have matched any offer. They could have spent that money then. Instead, they gave him a ridiculous contract extension, and now they're screwed. Now they are absolutely screwed when the season finally does start. In my opinion, I think they're still going to be good. Like, this is a team that still can make the playoffs and, hashtag, first world problems, hashtag, winning team problems. But, they could be a super team right now, and instead they're trying to figure out who their fourth starter is going to be.
Right. So what did Mookie sign an extension with the Dodgers?
No.
So what was he looking for? He's looking for 350.
I think he was looking for 10 years, $400 million or something, 12 years, $400 million, something obnoxious. To me, I think what's so frustrating about this is that even if he wanted that extension, you still have him on the books for his contract this season. So there's no reason to trade him. He's still going to play his season at the top level because he wants to get paid. Right. So why you're only getting rid of him because of salary dumps and you use Price as kind of the leveraging tool of we'll give you Mookie, but you got to take David Price. And I know David Price has had his issues in Boston. I don't, he doesn't do well with the media. He doesn't do well with the fans, but the guy showed up in the playoffs a couple of years ago. He showed up in the World Series. He did his thing. Yeah, that contract was kind of stupid that they signed him to a long time ago, and it didn't really work out. But the reality is, you know what? He's still good enough to be in that starting rotation. And right now, literally, we have crap for pitching. We're gonna bank on Nate Eovaldi, whose arm could fall off at any minute. Erod, who was great last year, but that guy's not more than a decent number 2, maybe a number 3. And I just I can't handle it. And then I start thinking about all the other things that they could have done to make this easy on them. They signed JBJ again this year. Why are we keep bringing this guy back to our team? But we're paying him $11 million this year to be a really good outfielder and hit 215. We couldn't have found somebody else to do that for $7. It just I feel like their decisions over the last couple of years. There was this big build-up to win a World Series, and I get that, and I appreciate that as a fan. The Red Sox have been great about going for it when they have the chance, but the idea that we can't go for it every year with the type of players we have, with the type of money that we can spend, just is a big load of crap. That's my rant. I could keep going on, but I feel like we've got so many other things to talk about.
I think that's fine, but the one question I have.
Yeah.
So I saw a tweet today that they finally finished the investigation on the Red Sox cheating.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about that?
They cheated. Everybody cheated. I mean, I want to say that everybody in baseball is cheating, but they're cheating. They cheated. There's no doubt.
I think you're right when you say that everyone is probably cheating. And that'll probably irritate some Patriots fans because I've sat here and said, well, the Patriots are cheaters. But you're trying to gain a competitive advantage, right?
Right. And I mean, let's just say this. They were in trouble, I think, a couple of years ago before Cora came on board with the Apple Watches and relaying information from the bullpens, whatever. They got in trouble for that.
Okay, I don't think I heard about that.
Alex Cora comes directly from the Astros, who are, like knee deep in cheating. I mean, they're banging buckets and doing everything they can to get the advantage. And to me, did they cheat? Yeah, they probably cheated. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't like it. I'd prefer them not to do it. But at the same time, like, they're caught now and they're going to have to face – I mean, Alex Cora's out of a job. That guy's not getting paid right now.
Right.
Because he –
But, I mean, it's only 1 year, right?
Yeah, but, I mean, it's going to take – I mean, I don't think he comes back in a year. And if he does, like, he's probably going to have to take maybe he has to take a cheap deal. I don't know. I'm not that deep into it. I just know that guy was 1 year removed from winning a World Series, and now he's out of a job. Yeah. And you have to do something pretty damn bad. You either got to cheat or, like, Ron Washington, you got to do some coke. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't think those things coincide. I'm not sure. So I don't know. I still think this team is really good. Their lineup is still going to be really good. JD's still there. Devers is there. Benintendi's is still there. Like, they've got a really good squad. It just, like, they just literally traded off, like, one of the 2-3 best players in baseball for a couple of prospects in a salary dump. And that, to me, just it hurts a lot.
How does their bullpen look?
Yikes. I mean, it's a bullpen. I think you can put a bullpen together with pieces and you can try different things throughout the year. They don't have they didn't really have a closer coming into the season. I think Workman is the guy that's on deck to do it, but their pitching was going to be a mess anyway. It was a mess last year because they didn't want to fill that closer position. It obviously hurt them. And, I think in ownership's mind that championship in, 2018, 2017, bought them a couple of years to be able to kind of fix their financial situation, get rid of some aging players, get some new players in there and figure things out. And obviously get a new general manager who's from the Rays, who's much more focused on smart, cost-effective moves, who's going to be able to kind of work within a huge budget, but also find those pieces that make sense along the way.
No doubt.
I mean, they're going to be good. I mean, again, this is a team that's probably going to win 90 games if they played a $162. But I'm still frustrated. What about the Braves? Tell me about the Braves.
Man, I mean, it stinks. I was actually looking forward to it, the season coming up. Last 2 years have been really, really good. A lot of young talent, and they're actually trying to keep them, which is fantastic. That's not something the Braves have done. Someone gets good and they try to trade them. Can I
just say that when we were texting before this, you sent me that Atlanta cut Freeman, and I didn't see the D, and I thought for a minute that they cut Freddie Freeman, and I was like, well, shit, we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
You know what? I didn't even think of that. Freddie Freeman, right? I meant to say Devontae Freeman.
No, you did put it
later, right?
You were on there. You put the D in there. So.
Yeah, no doubt. So one thing I'll say is the outfield. Enjoying the outfield. They just picked up Ozuna.
Mm-hmm.
Marcell Ozuna from he played for St. Louis, right?
That guy can mash.
He can hit, right? He has not had less than 25 home runs.
I love you coming back with these stats.
I love stats. I mean, he played 5 seasons, and only 1 year was under 25 home runs.
Pretty good. Yeah, that's good.
Can't complain about that, right? Then last year he had 29, but he only had 89 RBIs. So I'm wondering if I didn't follow St. Louis a lot. Like, were they just not getting on base in front of him to get RBIs? But I think that with the protection in this lineup, if they bat him in the 3, I don't think they will, but if they bat him in the 3, 4, 5, I think they have enough protection in the lineup to make him see a little bit more because he can hit homers. I think they'll protect him pretty well. They also have Acuna coming back. He's a stud, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, he's doing Trout.
Whenever we have fantasy drafts, I'm going to draft him.
You have to. And then they're going to, in center field, it's going to be in Chiarte.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he's not starting, they'll put Acuna back into center field and move Markakis into right.
Yeah. He's
Markakis
like
was
100 years old, but somehow still doing it.
dude. He's just doing it. I mean, he had a bunch of home runs. Didn't look it up this time. Don't want to overwhelm people with stats at this point because this is all talk right now because we don't know what's going to happen with the season. Right. So I do love the outfield. I'm a little worried about catcher. Ever since McCann left, I mean, right now they have D'Arnaud and they have Flowers.
Oh, right. I got you.
And they've been just doing the whoever's hot right now for the last 2-3 years. McCann was part of that last year, but when he was with them full time, he was mashing. And then he went to goodness gracious, I think he went to the Tigers, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't even remember. No, I'm sorry. He went to the Yankees.
Yes.
He signed a big contract with the Yankees, and the Braves were like, we're good. And then just haven't recovered ever since. And then the bullpen, top notch. I think they have 3 closers. They have Mark Melancon, right, Shane Green, and Luke Jackson. And they have the hold machine of Darren O'Day. I mean, this dude is averaging like 43 holds. He comes in with a lead, it's safe. Sorry.
You're in.
I mean, you can laugh all you want, but these are the the stat nerd stats.
Yeah. So what about the starting pitching?
Worried about that. It's like we're on the same wavelength here. So our ace right now is just coming off his rookie year, where he went 13-4, 2.68 ERA.
Goodness gracious.
174 innings pitched. And he's our ace. Don't aces normally go like 250? I mean,
probably.
Right. Good news is we're in a shortened season, right? So I'm not as worried about him. Mike Fulton-Evans had elbow discomfort last season.
Not great.
No, not good. I mean, he pitched well at the end, so I like it, but the elbow inflammation worries me. Max Fried went 17 wins, but still had a 4+ ERA.
That's
not
okay.
Going to do it. And then they have a 3-way battle for the 4 and 5 spots. Cole Hamels.
My man.
King Felix.
My man.
And Sean Newcomb.
Not my man.
I mean, he was our 5 last year.
Yep.
So I mean, he's okay. He's what a normal 5 does.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything that sticks out. Maybe Soroka is fine, but I worried about the starting pitching a lot.
Yeah. Are they a playoff team?
I think so. The offense will make up for that. I think the offense will make up for the pitching, and they have a good enough bullpen that once they do get a lead, I think that they will hold that lead.
That's fair. All right. RIP to MLB opening day.
Oh, but we can't. Okay. You lived in Baltimore for what? 11 years?
11 years. 12 years?
I lived there for about 9.
Did you live there for 9 years?
About that, yeah.
No way. That sounds crazy.
No, it was almost 9. So I think we should talk a little bit about the O's. Granted, I have no idea who's on the team.
And I think they're a AAA team. I'm pretty sure they.
All right, no. I'm gonna read this off. I mean, I actually have to look at my phone to be able to read off now what their depth chart is. Catcher, Severino.
Okay. He's a major league player.
First baseman, Chris Davis.
Worst contract of all time. Worst,
so bad.
Deferred payment until 37-38.
What'd you say?
They will be paying that man until 2037-38. They have deferred payments. Dumbest contract ever.
Yikes.
This Nate Eovaldi contract, bad. Price contract, not great. Sale, probably not going to work out. Dustin Pedroia's contract, really bad because he's probably not going to play again. However, Chris Davis, they have to keep putting him out there because they're paying him so much and they're so bad that it doesn't make sense. But that guy should be gone.
Hey, he's been in the gym and really working on his swing this year. So I think, maybe he'll get to like 206 this year.
He is so bad. And there was that's one of those contracts that like they did him right by giving him that deal, but such a bad contract, such a bad deal. Like, and it's gonna cripple them forever because they're not willing to spend the money, and now they've got to pay that guy forever.
All right. So at second base,
Sorry, that was
and now they're not showing full names, but it's H. Alberto.
okay.
Okay.
Moving on.
And then I'm going to assume that J. Iglesias is Jose Iglesias.
Probably.
And it is. Yeah.
The glove. Strong glove.
Yeah.
Can't
Absolutely.
hit.
R. Ruiz.
Great.
A. Hold on. Santander.
What position are we even talking about?
That's left field. Then we have A. Hayes and T. Mancini.
Well, you got Trey Mancini. Now that guy's legit. That guy can ball out.
Is he?
He's their all-star. He I believe he just went through some cancer treatments. Testicular cancer, I believe. I think he's recovering. Yeah. I think so. But he's legit. He can ball out. Can't stand up for the rest of the team.
That's fair. I can tell you that last year he was 291 average with 35 homers and 97 RBIs.
Yeah, I don't know how he knocked in 97 runs because I didn't think that they scored 97 runs last year.
Yeah, that's – wow. That's rough. So, yeah, and then you look at their pitching. Yeah. Jay Means, Alex Cobb, hey, ex-Brave.
They gave him a lot of money. He sucks.
He is not the best. You're right. A. Wojciechowski.
Don't know who that is.
That's a good 15-letter last name. W. LeBlanc.
Wade and LeBlanc. That guy can chuck it a little bit.
Okay. And Case Stewart. And I'm assuming that's not Cordell Flash Stewart.
That would be sick, though.
That would be
awesome. That guy's old, though. I mean, he can run a triple option, though.
Yeah, no doubt. And they haven't even – at this point, they haven't even announced a closer at this point.
I'm sure there is nobody that can actually close games for that team. And why do you need a closer when you never win any games?
Not sure if you can see that.
Well, Michael Givens is like, all right.
That's fair.
Givens, that guy can chuck it, but you don't need a closer when you're winning like 27 games a year. And especially if it's like a 100-game season, like they might only win like 18. They're really bad.
I mean, they had didn't they have a pretty hot start to the season, the spring training? Sorry, they were mashing.
Great, awesome. That's because all the guys that are playing in spring training games are the actual guys that are going to be playing on their team. So they're like actual almost major leaguers. Where like, you know, Red Sox and other teams are playing like their JV squad against Northeastern University. Like, come on, like these guys, they're not good. Like, right. Shout out to all our Baltimore people, but, like, the Orioles are really bad.
No doubt.
I kept myself from saying trash, but they're just really bad.
They're going to be pretty awful this year.
But shout out, and I know you and I have talked a little bit about this, shout out to Baltimore as a city doing opening day the right way.
Oh, I think, yeah.
You can get down, you can get jiggy, you can lose your mind and not even go into the stadium and just have a ball. And that's what we did. All right, before we get started on NFL, I think, you know, we are Beers Up Sports Talk, so we got to put our beers up, and we got to let everybody know what we're drinking tonight. I'm drinking Back East Ice Cream Man off the chains.
Well, at least I'm drinking out of a good koozie, right? Respect. I'm just chilling with some Bud Light tonight, trying to keep it low-key on this Thursday night.
Trying to save those calories, man. That's a smart move.
There you go.
Beers up. All right, let's do NFL. A little bit has happened since the last time we talked. Probably the biggest thing is Cam Newton getting released, no longer on the Panthers, no longer as a home. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we kind of expected that, right? Teddy Bridgewater signed for a lot of money.
Yeah.
We talked about Phillip Rivers and Brissett staying in Indianapolis together with that much money.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was a possibility, but, I mean, we both knew Cam was getting released.
Right.
I mean, why wait this long? I mean, did they feel like they had to get Bridgewater before they could make this move? I mean, we're looking at – I still think Chargers are the best place for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, my guess is the reason that they waited is because they wanted to see if they could trade him. I mean, again, when you're in a situation like that – you're hoping that there's some team like the Chargers that maybe gets desperate enough and says like, hey, we'll throw you a third rounder. We'll throw you a fourth rounder. They're just trying to get some type of value.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think they were just hoping that something would come up and they could at least escape, kind of save face by getting a draft pick out of it. But now they got to eat the money, and now they got to release him.
Right, and I thought about it after we got off the pod last week, and I was like, what about Jacksonville? And then, like, they're rebuilding. I mean, let's be honest. I get it. Minshew mania ran wild last year. Minshew played pretty decent last year, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, wasn't great. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But he came out of nowhere. I don't think anyone expected him to do that.
Yeah. No.
He's not going to go to Jacksonville, which I thought was like, oh, great spot. But they're rebuilding. They didn't re-sign Campbell. He went to the Ravens.
Right.
And I mean, they have a bunch of young receivers. They don't have a number one. They have a bunch of number twos, which can work.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Cam, as good as he is accurate enough to actually be good with a bunch of number twos.
D, I was thinking about this. I kind of like praised Cam Newton in that last pod, and then I was like burning through Twitter the other day, and somebody had some stat up that like since his Super Bowl season, since they went 15-1, he's like 30th or worst in the league in almost every passing category, every category for a quarterback. And like my guess is that maybe he just did develop. Maybe there wasn't a quarterback coach there, or maybe there wasn't the support there that allowed him to develop. Maybe it was on him. Maybe he got too full of himself and couldn't develop. Whatever it was, the guy kind of hit that like the peak of the mountain, and he just flatlined. Like he just hasn't been good the last couple of years. And then you factor in some injuries, and this is a guy that 4 or 5 years ago was like pretty damn legit, and now he's a free agent. And one of the things I wrote down tonight is that like this guy might have to be a backup. Like you're right, he could go to Chargers, and I think that would be a good fit. But like this is a guy that might have to take a backup role, and that's going to be really weird. And not in the sense that like he didn't play last year, so of course like there's this idea that maybe he just needs a year to get himself together. But like it's crazy to think that this guy was a Super Bowl guy just a couple of years ago, and now might have to settle for like a 1 year $5 million deal with some team that's not very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because, I mean, he had the weapons. He had DJ Moore. He had Samuel. And he had McCaffrey.
Right. And I mean, let's just say –
Olsen. He had Olsen.
Right, but he didn't play last year, right?
No, he didn't play last year, but the year before.
So, I mean, you look back, that's – then you're talking about McCaffrey's rookie year, and you're talking about DJ Moore's rookie year.
Rookie year, yeah.
Like, okay, like it takes a little while for them to get together. I just like it. I think that injury last year, you look back, when you look back on his career in a couple of years, you might say like, had he not been injured, he might be their starting quarterback. He might have signed a long-term deal. He might have had a hell of a season, right? And instead, he's trying to find a place to go and play. And again, like I guess the Patriots could still sign him. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that's personally, I think that would be another good spot. I think having someone that would hold him more accountable would be huge. And I think Belichick has shown he can do that. Problem is, if you don't, you're gone.
Well, and Cam's got that strong personality where, he's earned the right? Like he balled out. He's been a number one guy for a number of years, but does he check himself in this moment and try to get himself going, or does he just kind of stand firm with the way he is and keep pushing forward?
See, I think I agree. I think the Patriots will not give him the money he wants. So that's why he'll never go to the Patriots.
I don't think he's going to be able to get the money he wants, though. Like, who's going to give him the money?
Well, that's fair. But he could probably get more money from the Chargers than he's going to get from the Patriots, because the Patriots are going to give him whatever
I agree with that.
Salary they can get him and say, earn another contract.
I totally agree. I mean, the fact that the Chargers haven't made a play for him yet, and maybe they have, maybe they're talking to him, but didn't try to trade for him. They've come out publicly saying that Tyrod Taylor's their quarterback. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking that could be all part of the game, but like, it's also to say like, all right, here, take this $3 million deal and earn your keep.
Right. I mean, we talked about it last pod. The Panthers said that Cam was their starting quarterback. Right.
Business as usual in the NFL.
Right.
Or I should say in sports, but yeah, business as usual. This guy's my guy until he's not my guy.
While this is not, we didn't talk about this at all. This is just popped into my head as we were talking. I saw something, can't remember where I saw it, but it was on social media, and I saw, those ridiculous memes, and it was Bill Belichick on the phone with Andrew Luck once Brady went to Tampa.
Yeah.
Would that be some shit?
That would never happen. I mean, no, Andrew Luck. Here's the thing. I mean,
because he had years left in Indianapolis, so he would have to get cut by Indianapolis. But it would be interesting.
Andrew Luck isn't coming out in time.
Oh,
I think that guy.
Yeah, neither is Brett Favre, right?
Well, Brett Favre and Andrew Luck are two different guys, right? I think Andrew Luck probably looked at it and just said, "Listen, it's not worth it. I'm going to get myself killed, and I don't want to be dead at 30 because I'm playing football." Now that's a little bit aggressive and maybe over the top, but like it's very clear that he was like, "I'm just not doing this."
No doubt.
So I don't know. I don't know what Cam's going to do. I think he has to be a backup, or he's going to have to hope that something opens up. But as we talked about last time, like there's not a lot of places that need a quarterback. There's not a lot of teams out there that are begging for some well-established veteran to come in and, compete. Like, Washington's come up a lot just because Ron Rivera is there. But like my guess is that Cam doesn't want to play for Ron Rivera, and you don't want to stunt, as I talked about last time, you don't want to stunt the development of your rookie quarterback or your second-year quarterback by bringing in a guy who's going to show up and act like he's the man from day one, and that's what Cam's going to do wherever he goes.
Yeah. No doubt.
What you got?
I think the Cam played in the Super Bowl, the Broncos, so let's go to them and them signing Melvin Gordon to a 2-year, $16 million contract.
Yeah, that was quick. That didn't take long. He stayed in the division.
My question to you.
Yeah.
You have Phillip Lindsay, who ran for 1,000 yards last year, and you have a receiving running back in Rice Freeman.
Yep.
Why sign Gordon there?
Because I think running backs are a dime a dozen, and I think they probably said maybe you know what? Hell if I know, D. To be honest, here's the thing. In the NFL, you sign running backs because there's a good chance one of them is going to get injured, right? Like barely do you make it through a season where you're running back. Let's just take the Packers or even the Bills, for example. Like they went into the season with 2 running backs, and obviously we're talking about having 3 running backs, but maybe the idea of like
they went in with 3 running backs. They went in with Gore, they went in with Singletary, and they went in with Yeldon.
But Yeldon, that guy really wasn't on the radar, and he only played when somebody got hurt. He only really played when Singletary got hurt. But I think. But
I think that's what's going to happen with Freeman. I
think you just you sign the best players that you can to give yourself the best opportunity. And again, remember they've got the second-year quarterback who only played a handful of games. So that means you're going to be running the ball a lot. You're going to be putting your running backs out there a lot. And Melvin Gordon's a good player. And listen, my guess is.
No, I'm sorry. You said good player. You ready for this?
Yes.
Since 2015, Melvin Gordon has only had 1 season over 4 yards per carry. So that's 5 years, right?
Yeah.
5 seasons, 1 season where he was over 4 yards per carry. And it was at 5.1. Everything else has been 3.9 or less. Now,
the Chargers throw the ball a lot.
Well, that's what I was just going to say.
I don't know.
What I was going to say is I think that Phillip Lindsay, I don't think is going to get affected too much. I think you might see him as the running downs back with Gordon coming in, not always on 3rd down, but I think Lindsay is going to stay as the main back. This is, again, personal feeling. And Gordon's going to come in where he'll get some runs, but he's better. He's had 50 receptions, I think 3 years, maybe it was 2, but I think it was 3.
Yeah.
3 years. So that's a lot of receptions for a running back.
Yeah, and I just think sometimes you need a change of venue, right? Like you just need a different place. I think Melvin Gordon was so glued to what the Chargers were, and the Chargers were so clearly doing better with Austin Eckler as their running back that I just think at some point they were like, we just got to get Gordon out of here to see.
Here's up.
Just to see what we have, right? Let's just see what we have, because you can find some running back in the third round, or you can find some running back in the free agent pool that's going to give you what a secondary back is going to give you. And again, saying that, it makes me question why Denver is doing this. Again, I just think they figure maybe Lindsey, maybe Freeman doesn't give them what they want. And maybe they're just thinking they're going to be running the ball a lot because they've got a second-year quarterback. I don't know.
I think you'll see a backfield like the Packers last year of Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. I think that's what you're going to see out of Lindsey and Gordon. But what it does say, and this is a complete fantasy spin, I think it's bad for Drew Lock.
Well, I think it's bad for Drew Lock that he's a rookie quarterback, basically, that hasn't thrown the ball much in the NFL, and Denver's not going to let him chuck it 50 times a game.
I mean, but I thought he showed promise last year.
But who's he thrown it to?
He's thrown it to Sutton and Hamilton. Deshaun Hamilton and Cortland Sutton.
Okay. Couple of number threes?
No, I bet you if he gets the chance, Cortland Sutton will be a low-grade number one.
That's banana land.
No, it's not.
Banana land.
Go out there and watch him play.
A low-grade number one?
Yeah.
I know they got the rookie tight end, too. No, I mean,
Noah Fant. Yeah, I mean, they have the receivers. And you're in a passing league. Let them throw.
I don't disagree, but they have three basically starting running backs. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't really understand it.
I mean, we can sit here and argue about it, but
easy about it. Now the Broncos have a stable of running backs.
Ooh, a stable.
All right, let's talk about the other running back that got signed.
What'd you say?
Let's talk about the other running back that got signed, Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley, 1 year, $6 million.
Listen,
but you look at the background, it ends up being $20 million.
What do you mean?
Because of the he had $12 million from a signing bonus,
right?
So he's getting $20 million this year. But he's only getting $6 million from Atlanta. I think it's a great signing for Atlanta because he's from Georgia, he went to Georgia in college.
Yep.
And Devontae Freeman, he was good, but he was a cap casualty. They would have had to pay Devontae Freeman more to stay on the team than to sign Todd Gurley.
And listen, I think Devonta Freeman might be the guy that I've drafted the most in my fantasy football leagues in the last 3 or 4 years. I just kept going back to the well with that guy, and he kept disappointing year after year. Yeah, I mean, he had some moments, and he probably won me a championship here and there. But he just again changed. You just sometimes need a new fresh face, and I just think with Atlanta, they had Tevin Coleman as the backup for a while, and he left, and now they get Ish Smith is the guy or whatever his name is, and now
Brian Hill. Too.
Oh, Hill came on a little bit. But I think that the reality is that all those guys are going to be in play. They're all going to get carries. The Falcons are going to chuck the ball a lot. They've got unbelievable receivers. And I just think at some point, you just need a guy that can, if you need 2 or 3 yards, that's the guy you want. And Gurley, when healthy, is that guy. I mean, he can be, he can carry the load if he's healthy. Whether or not he's healthy, whether that knee is stable is to be debated.
So my question is, how do you think losing Austin Hooper is going to affect that offense?
I mean, I think it'll affect it, but what will affect it more? Him leaving or their number 2 wide receiver taking a bigger step forward, and I'm blanking on his name right now.
I'm sorry?
Jones. Who's their number 2?
Calvin Ridley.
Right. What's a bigger deal for them? Him taking a step forward in his 3rd year or Austin Hooper leaving? My guess is you can probably get 75% of Austin Hooper from whoever the tight end is that replaces him. I hate to say that, but but if Ridley takes a big step forward and you can line up Julio Jones on one side and Calvin Ridley on the other, that's pretty incredible.
I mean, you're losing 75 receptions, almost 800 yards, and 6 touchdowns, which is crazy.
Right. They also couldn't run the ball last year. I mean, they couldn't run the ball. Freeman wasn't healthy. Benny Hill was good for a minute. Smith was not as advertised. They couldn't run the ball. And I think that's why you see them go out and get a guy like Gurley, because at the end of the day, you do need to be able to pick up 2, 3, 4 yards on the ground when you hand it off to your back. And I just think for a while they couldn't do that. And again, if you can get those yards on the ground, then you start working the play action. Then you start chucking it down the field to Ridley and Julio Jones. And again, they're going to bring in a tight end if they haven't already. I think they're going to be fine on offense.
Jimmy Graham's off the market, so.
Jimmy Graham should be out of the NFL. That guy's not good anymore. He's so slow. He's so bad.
I need to tag him. I need to tag the article I read today that he's saying that it says Jimmy Graham upset about the fact that he's not fat, that people are saying he's not fast. I am fast.
I mean, here's the thing about Graham. Like, that guy showed up in the NFL and, like, literally changed the game for tight ends. I mean, he came after Antonio Gates, but, like, changed the game for tight ends and then was, like, gone in a minute. Like,
well, it's him and Gonzalez and Gates, right? And
Gronk. I mean, you got to put Gronk in that group as well. And, Hernandez if you want to. R-I-P-I-P-I-P. But, like, he was an absolute game changer and then kind of just lost it all. I mean, and again, like, here's the thing. Let me be honest. That guy's still getting money. He's still getting paid. So, obviously, he still must have skill, right? Like, he's got to be good enough to play in the NFL. But, like, I don't see it. I don't understand.
Sometimes the name just happens. And we'll get to that in the surprise section.
Ooh, all right.
All right. So we kind of got off topic because we were talking about Gurley. So is it a bounce back year? I mean, he didn't have a terrible year last year, but is he going to get back to his all-star form?
Oh, I think it all depends on his knee, how his knee holds up, right? He's got that bulky knee. It's why LA, not LA. Are they LA now?
No, they are LA now, yeah. Wait 5 years. They'll be back in St. Louis.
Yeah, LA. That's why they took it easy with him last year. That's why he wasn't getting the full load. That's why he held out, right? Was he a holdout guy?
Ooh, I don't remember.
I don't even know. That's really bad. But again, like I think if he can stay healthy and he can get between the tackles and he can pick up 4 yards a carry, he can be really important to that team. I mean, that team needs a running back who can get yards. And, like, it just wasn't there last year. And, maybe it points to their offensive line. I don't know enough about the Falcons, but I know that if Gurley can get space, he's going to be able to gain yards and he's going to be able to do well. Yes, bounce back here. Give it to me. Give me. I'm buying Todd Gurley stock right now.
Buying it. Okay.
I'm buying it.
No, I like it. I think
can't be any lower than it is right now, right? He just signed a 1-year deal.
Like 1 year, $6 million when he was what? 2 years ago, he was considered the best running back in football.
Right. I mean, he was doing it year back to back to year. I mean, he was doing it.
If you're going to tell me that you're 3rd and 2 or 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line and you can play action pass and you have Julio, Ridley on the corners,
right?
Love it.
Right.
There is no reason why this offense shouldn't be very just explosive this year.
And they were really good at the end of the season. I mean, it took them a while to get going, but they were really good at the end of the year.
Even their defense stepped up.
If it's 3rd and 2, I think I trust Gurley to get those 2 yards more than I do Freeman. And I think that's probably what it came down to for them.
And right, so that's going to make people guess, oh, no, they're running the ball.
Right.
No, they're really not. They're throwing it to a wide open Julio Jones now, who should never be wide open, by the way. They should put 7 players on that person. But so we talked about Austin Hooper a little bit while we were talking about in this situation, and we didn't know where he went in the last podcast. He ended up with Cleveland.
Yeah, lots of money to go to Cleveland.
So does that mean that Njoku's not there, or they still have him?
I think he's still there. I think – well, I mean, I think in the NFL today you can never have enough weapons. And I think, again, you look at a team like the Browns, and I think this is just kind of like the way of the NFL. When you have your quarterback who's good on a rookie contract, you surround him with as many weapons as possible.
Yep.
And that means spending money on those weapons. I mean, now we could say that in the same breath, there's rumors of OBJ getting traded. So, yeah, you could have Njoku and you could have Hooper and you could have whoever else is their wide receivers.
Jarvis Landry.
But, like, you could also not have OBJ. And if you don't have OBJ, then that's one less guy to put two sets of eyes on and allow Hooper and allow Njoku to get open. I mean, but again, going back to my original point, when you have a quarterback who's young, who's on a rookie contract, who's good. You surround them with as many weapons as possible, and you just say, listen, we're going to try and, catch fire when we're paying our quarterback $5-6 million a year instead of $25 million a year.
No doubt.
I assume Hooper's deal is heavily front loaded. I'm sure in the first 2 years he gets a ton of money, and then they'll probably have to make some decisions in 2 or 3 years when they have to pay their quarterback.
No doubt.
Right. All right. Tell me about the Packers' big signing since the last time we talked. I mean, this is a big deal. Big time. Going to absolutely open up the playbook for Devin Funchess.
I mean, you talk about big, right? He's 6'4".
He's a big dude.
He is a big dude. 225, 6'4". So
is he the guy that the Bills had for that they traded for? Or did they trade for the other guy?
So Devin Funchess was with Carolina.
Right.
So I'm surprised the Bills didn't sign him.
Well, because they had the other guy. They signed the other big wide receiver because they had both big wide receivers.
Oh, the one, oh, goodness. Yeah. Was it Florida State?
Yes. Yeah.
I would love to remember who that was. Man. So anyways, so this is their second free agent that they've signed that didn't play last year.
Right, with the linebacker, Kearsay.
Yeah, the linebacker, Kirksey. Yeah. So awesome. We got two
fresh
players.
Legs. We're going to have fresh legs, right?
Yeah, this is true. So let's talk about his best season. 63 receptions, 840 yards, and 8 touchdowns.
I mean, how tall is he?
Let me finish.
Okay.
On 111 targets.
How many catches?
63.
Hicks. That's a. I mean, who was throwing him the ball though?
Exactly. That's what I'm gonna say.
Not that accurate.
He had Cam Newton throwing him, and now he's got Rodgers, who was not fantastically accurate last year, but he's even in his bad year, he's more accurate than Cam Newton.
Right.
Okay. So let's say that 111 targets turns into 72 catches instead, which gives him another. So that's let's say 9. Talking about another 90 yards. So he's at 900 yards. I could deal with that as my number 3.
I mean, first of all, he's got to get on the field, right? And second of all, I mean, what he does is he gives you a guy that's big. That it's basically. I mean, he's like a glorified tight end. He's a little faster than a tight end, but he's a big dude that you
that's
can.
That's what I'm thinking. I think you're talking red zone work, but I mean, I didn't write the stats down, but I mean, most of his, yards per catch were in the mid-teens.
Right.
So he was, 14, 15, 16 yards per catch. So I'll take that. We need that. So I'm going to be optimistic.
My man.
I'm not holding my breath, but I'm going to be optimistic. I think he can't be any worse than Jimmy Graham.
Right.
And, if he heals up and he shows promise. He shows that he can body people and make the red zone catches.
I mean, if he can get healthy, he can get into the system, he can be a part of the team. He's another option where he can turn, he can square up, and Rodgers can hit him right in the numbers. I mean, again, Rodgers is accurate. He's going to get him the ball. He's going to chuck it fast. The opportunities are going to be there for him. He's just got to get on the field. I
agree.
Yeah. All right. Bills signing, big surprise. I mean, we just talked about it, and I got my phone open so I could do this. They signed another Carolina Panther, Darrell Williams, offensive lineman, been a starter in Carolina for the last 5 years. All right, and he's been right tackle. They'll probably move him around the line. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ex-Panthers they've signed this offseason.
This offseason. So Carolina North.
At one point, maybe not 5, but I mean they're nope, that's 5. Yeah, that's 5. 5 guys this offseason who have at one point played in Carolina that are now on the Bills. This is the first one on the offensive side. Everyone else a defender. I mean, not to get too deep into it, but I love it. I mean, their offensive line was great last year. This is a depth signing. They're going to need it because offensive linemen get injured. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh, that's good. I mean, Kelvin Benjamin, by the way.
That's our guy. That's the
I'm
guy.
sorry, I had to look it up. That was killing me.
No, that's awesome. That was the guy that they traded for when they were trying to make a run, and he was not great. And injured.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? But I had to look it up because it was killing.
I appreciate that.
All right. So I'm glad that you're happy about that signing because, I'm still kind of on the Packers this offseason. So I have 2 surprise topics.
Oh, all right. Let's see what you got.
So I'm going to start. So this is the first one. And let's be honest. We know that the DeAndre Hopkins trade, because we never talked about this, which is crazy because, wow, is fantastic for Arizona, right?
Yes.
So my question to you is Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, and Larry Fitzgerald, are they a top 5 3 wide receiver set in the NFL?
Top 5. Initial response is no.
Okay.
Because I don't know who Christian Kirk is. I know who he is.
I was going to say, didn't he lead them in receptions last year?
Yeah, Larry Fitz is pretty old.
Okay.
And DeAndre Hopkins is pretty damn good. I don't know. Top 5. I mean, this is a surprise question. So do you have your top 5 listed?
I actually don't. I was leaving it completely up.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of through the teams. I mean, quickly, Tampa Bay's got a pretty good 3 guys if you count their tight end. Are we able to count tight ends in this?
Let's count pass catchers. That works for me.
I don't know.
New Orleans. Because they got Thomas, Sanders, and Cook.
Right. Yep. And remind me, I want to ask you about New Orleans before we get out of here. But who else? Who else are the wide receivers? The Bills obviously are in the top 5.
I'm not going to fight you on that.
I don't know if I would say they're in the top 5, but that's a pretty good 3. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are. I can't.
Another team that pops into my head is the Chargers. You got Allen, you have Williams, and you have Hunter Henry.
Yep, that's a pretty good one.
Now let's say OBJ, Landry, and Hooper.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, I think, Ridley, Julio Jones, and whoever else is out there running with them is probably a pretty good one. I guess you could say that. Again, I think they're going to – the Cardinals are going to be a better team. What I do worry about is that, Fitz is old. He's not a young dude. And, do they have enough firepower to make one last run? Because when he leaves, it's going to be hard to replace a guy like that. Right?
See, I think they're fine offensively. I would worry about the defense.
Yeah,
and the fact that they have L.A., Seattle, and San Francisco in the same division.
You know what's crazy? You know what we didn't even mention? And maybe it's for a reason, and I think it shows how good of a freaking team they are. We didn't even mention the Chiefs, the team that just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
As a team of the top 3 or top 5 wide receiving duo. Tyreek Hill is ridiculous. He's also really bad at beating up.
Watkins and Hardman.
Did he beat up women? Is that what he did? Does he beat up women, Tyreek Hill?
I believe he did in the past. I don't think he did it since he's been in the NFL, but I could be wrong.
Okay. You got him. You got Sammy Watkins. You got the tight end who's off the chains. They're probably there.
They're probably
one of their other 4 wide receivers that stretch the field.
Hardman.
Yeah. They're pretty good.
But so you're looking at probably in the top 5, 6, at lowest 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's a good. It is, again. It's really good when you have a rookie quarterback to surround him with really good wide receivers because it gives them a chance to make mistakes that those receivers can make up for. Right. DeAndre Hopkins is going to make your life easier. Larry Fitz is going to make your life easier. I mean, one of the things that's always been a problem with the Bills is they brought in these young quarterbacks and surrounded them with not really good wide receivers, and then you wonder why, they struggle. I mean, you saw Josh Allen take a big step forward last year, but I think it's also because he had people he could rely on when he needed to throw the ball. He was still inaccurate at times, and he was still super frustrating, but he had guys – there were so many games that he made bad throws, and those receivers made up for it with some ridiculous catches.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, surprise one. Hit me with surprise two. What you got? I'm feeling it.
Two. And we didn't talk about this, but we've spent a lot of time on the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of time on the Panthers.
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson now? You lose all these defensive players, and your next thought is, hey, let's go sign another receiver.
I mean, let's be clear. The defensive guys that they lost were old and past their prime.
Okay.
For the most part.
Then why'd the Bills sign them?
Because the Bills are
backups,
surrounding
right?
their young players with depth. I mean, they lost Jordan Phillips to Miami on a big deal. They got Ed Oliver, who's going to be coming into his second year. Trent Murphy, not Trent Murphy, but Harrison, the defensive tackle that was out all of last year with the torn ACL. Like, I think what they do is they fill in depth with guys that they can trust, right? Guys that know the system. Carolina is going to be interesting, right? Because we talked a little bit about it last time, is that they're not really rebuilding, but they're kind of rebuilding. Like, you can't rebuild when you have Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore and Greg. Is Greg Olsen still there? Is he still there?
he was released.
He was released. So, like,
they're not signing him, one or the other.
But even still, like, you can't be rebuilding if you're spending $20 million a year on a quarterback for the next 3 years. Like,
they have another tight end that is pretty decent.
Yeah, so I mean, you got DJ Moore, you've got Robbie Anderson, you've got Christian McCaffrey, you've got Teddy Bridgewater, you've got a pretty good team. And again, that division,
Ian Thomas is the receiver, is the tight end.
So I mean, you've got some ballers on offense, and I think defensively they'll be all right. Again, I think it's going to come down to how quickly can that team pick up on the offense that this guy Rule is going to install, because obviously he's going to be creating probably a hybrid college offense, probably similar to what Kansas City's doing, and he's going to be chucking it all over the field. And I mean, it's going to depend on how that team comes together. But I think it's a great signing. I mean, Robbie Anderson 2 years ago was balling out.
Yeah.
And last year you could say it's because they didn't really have a quarterback throwing, but like that guy can go. And I mean,
because they lost Darnold for 6 weeks.
Right. And again, and also like they just didn't really, they never really put it together. Le'Veon Bell had a bad season. Gase took a while to get himself going. Like, I just think that Robbie Anderson and that, with DJ Moore on the other side and McCaffrey in the backfield, like they're going to be all right. They're going to be good.
I think they'll be good. No, I agree with you. I think offensively they'll be good. Problem is, offensively, New Orleans is good. Offensively, Tampa Bay is probably good. And with Gurley, Atlanta is going to be good.
That's going to be a tough division.
What team can play defense? New Orleans.
Tampa Bay. I mean, you brought up the stats last week. 97 rush yards a game. I mean, that's a team that can play defense.
That division is going to be interesting
this
year. I really believe that. That's going to be fun to watch. And then, but look at it. You got New Orleans is going to play the number 1 seed schedule.
Right.
So they're going to have more, division winners against them.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything, but they're going to have the harder schedule. And then you're going to have – and then Tampa is going to have an easier schedule, right, because they were in last place. So maybe Brady takes advantage of that, and now they move up, and that's how those things work. It all depends on who you have on the schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I want to ask you about New Orleans. What do you think about this kind of the conversation around the fact that they've kind of committed to Hill being their kind of franchise quarterback after Breeze hangs it up?
That's 2 years away.
I know, but like the guy's going to be 30, or is he already 30, or whatever it may be? Like, he doesn't really throw the ball ever. Like, it's such a weird thing for me that this is the guy. Huh?
Did they commit to him?
I mean, at least everything that I read says that like he's kind of the quarterback in waiting for when Breeze finally steps down. It just seems like such a weird thing to me that like this guy, obviously, I mean, he was a quarterback in college. I get it, but he hasn't really played quarterback at all. Maybe a couple of throws. They still plan to use him as wide receiver. They put a first round tender on him, so anybody that were to sign him have to give up a first round draft pick. Like that's like high praise for a guy that I don't know. Like, is he going to be able to handle on offense? I'm sure, but like that's that. I mean, that's high praise for a guy that doesn't really play quarterback ever.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to say about that. Like, I really don't. Like, you're still 2 years away from him being a starter, unless, of course, something happens with Breeze. I mean,
right. And again, like Breeze, it's a 4-year contract that he signed, but the last 2 years are avoidable, and I get that. But like, it's one of those things right now with Bridgewater out of the picture that if Breeze goes down like he did last year, Hill's going to have to be back there chucking it. And I mean, I'm guessing he can. They obviously believe in the fact that he can, but like that's a big deal for them, given that they're a Super Bowl or bust team.
Yeah.
To have that guy as their backup, they must feel pretty strong about it.
I mean, I do remember at the end of the season reading a lot of, Taysom Hill's going to be the guy, but I just don't know if I agree.
Right. All right, last thing on the docket is the NFL draft. They announced tonight that it's moving forward as planned. Well, somewhat as planned. They're going to do it on the original dates. I think it's April 23rd through the 25th or whatever, or maybe earlier. But anyway, the big news is that they are moving forward with the draft. But everything will be done kind of remotely. They'll be in Las Vegas. Goodell and those folks will be in Las Vegas doing the announcing of the picks, but they'll kind of flash screen into the war rooms of the teams. But one of the things that I found that was really interesting is that there are no pre-draft workouts.
Right.
And all the facilities are closed. So this is
right. So all the, like Tua, I mean, this dude's hip, he had surgery on it, end of his season last year.
And so, like, I'm not a huge fan of Goodell. I think it's BS that they kind of went ahead with free agency. I think it's kind of BS that they're going kind of ahead with the draft, because I do think it's just kind of hey, look, we're the only game in town. Look at us. Everybody pay attention to us. But what I did want to say is I'm really interested to see how this goes, because I do think with the lack of these pre-draft workouts, you could have some teams ending up making decisions that they might not have made that might actually be really good for them. I think a lot of times these pre-draft workouts can kind of either blow up expectations or kind of make teams move in a different direction when they really should have just picked the best player available. They kind of get hung up on these guys that show up and they run them through a workout and they think that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I kind of dig the no pre-draft workout, and I wonder if teams will kind of use this as kind of like a let's see how this goes and how well we do without these pre-draft workouts.
So I figured we would disagree a little bit on this, because here's my thought. You're going to have a draft. So let's pretend they pushed it back 3 months, 2 months, whatever, until, the United States was clear of COVID-19.
With the draft, it'd be a month? Maybe a month, 2 months max.
But now these players are getting drafted. They know where they're going. They can start looking at places to live, because a lot of them do move to where they, especially when they're rookies. And then they can get their playbooks right away, and they can start prepping for the season at home.
Look, D, I get that. I'm not disagreeing with that. And I think it's actually going to work out pretty well. I just think that in a time when you say, in the last 20 years, every team has held a bunch of workouts, a bunch of interviews. Now you're saying, I guess they didn't say that no interviews can be done, but like now you're saying we're going to completely change the way we do it. Just do it here to this date. I'm not saying that they need to move it back a month or two. Maybe they say, like, let's just push it back 2 or 3 weeks just to give everybody a couple extra times to figure things out, since teams have had to deal with closing facilities, figuring out how they're getting their current players to work out, figuring out, if you're the Panthers and you have a new coaching staff, or any of these teams that have new coaching staffs, and you're trying to figure out, this, that, and everything, like now you also have to put everything on pause to deal with COVID-19. And oh, by the way, we have this draft coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but they have different.
Like, you could have pushed it back 2 or 3 weeks with the same idea, but I just think the NFL is so committed to, we just want to make as much money as possible, so let's just do what we're going to do.
But I mean, you have different departments for that, right? I mean, it's just like a university doing this. You have you have the president making this decision, and it goes down to each college, university, or I'm sorry, college, school, whatever you want to call it, and then they make decisions based off that and move it down. I think it's gonna flow, and you have your marketing people that are gonna worry about that type of stuff, and you're gonna have the head coach is gonna be focused on who do I want to draft, and then he's gonna give his defensive coach and his offensive coach tasks to talk to them, and then your strength and conditioning coach is gonna do their thing. I think that they haven't. So many
people that all when you're talking about universities, they've all shut down. They all have everybody working from home, and they've all canceled basically.
Right, but they're still working, right?
Yeah, but they've also like let's just say like commencement's the biggest thing that happens at a school, right?
Yep.
Your school's canceled it. My school's canceled it. NFL, the draft is still happening.
Right.
I mean, I just think that it like.
But they don't need to be there to do it.
No, and again, that's why I'm saying like I don't hate this idea too much. I actually like the idea of the like lack of pre-draft workouts because I think it's going to give them an opportunity to just look at tape and figure out if this player can do it.
And play it on the field, yeah. And
there will be kind of this interesting study that probably gets done on draft picks this year and how well they do versus draft picks of the year before and workouts and all of those things. But I don't know. I believe that every decision the NFL makes is about money. It's only about money. Goodell only cares about the owners and the money. He cares little about the players, and that I will never think differently about that. Sorry about that.
That's fair.
You all right there?
Yeah, I'm all right. I had something and I lost it.
That's all right, man. It's late. Well, I think that puts a wrap on episode 2. You got anything else to say, man?
Let's redo the closing.
Okay.
Because I need a second.
Okay.
Because that really bothered me. That it was a good thing too. Oh, no. Anyway, it's not important. So
if it was good,
once I stop talking, you close it out, and then I'll close it out with you. All right.
Okay. I like that we could do
now. I'm stopping to talk.
Well, no, all I was gonna say is like when this is if we ever do this live, it's gonna be a cluster F, huh?
Well, no, it'll be a little bit different, but we'll be all right.
Yeah. All right, well, I think that puts a wrap on episode 2. Beers up, sports talk, Debo, Sibo. Yeah, you went number 2. I stayed with number 1. Shout out to Back East, Ice Cream Man, IPA. You got to get it. It's money.
Well, there's a difference. I'm also drinking Bud Light.
Hey, man, it is what it is. Catch us on pod number 3 coming up later on this week. Any last words for the viewers at home?
Chop on, my man.
Later, y'all.
See ya.